All right, so welcome to another episode here. And what we want to do today is take a look at the Roku stock as it's pulling back and do a quick little analysis for you and give you some takes and takeaways. Keep in mind, none of these are recommendations to buy, sell, or trade anything, just my own personal thoughts and opinions. All right, so let's kick things off. We're going to go in, we're going to check out Roku here. And first thing I want to do is it really just depends on really your time horizon on the trade or investment, right? But as we look at Roku, it is a fairly new company and stock. So you can see, boom, there was the IPO area and the stock is fairly new. Now, if we look at just the overall, this is kind of the monthly chart. If we look at this chart and we continue on the trend is actually fairly healthy, right? So if you think about the trend is actually nice on the longer term. And if you look at this is our channel. So we're looking at this range is actually looking very good. So when we look at this, hey, we still got an upward channel. Now the problem that some people are seeing and looking at, right? So we kind of got like this froggy stair-step pattern that's happening. But the problem that some people are looking at is if we start getting into the weekly a little bit. So here, this stock, we've had kind of this double top. So here we've got one, then two. So double top, really a big issue and problem when you think about it, right? And that's where you get these pullbacks. So as the stock has, tried to get higher, tried to go up, couldn't do it. And then there it was the second time. So there's number one, there's number two, and we started the pullback. So we got in, we tried to get into the support level, we tried to hold this little area and then continue to break. Now we're trying to hold this 200, nice round number. And again, we're wondering, is it going to hold? Now, you do have some little bit of volume coming in, so that's kind of usually a nice little fuel or sign, but we're not seeing kind of this turn around. We're not seeing this little turn in the stock yet. So I'm looking at some of these swing points here, and they're very minor, right? Because the stock hasn't had a lot of history, so there's some minor areas, but you got a round number, you got some swing point here, you've got some volume picking up. So some people tried to get into this stock, and now it's pulling back again. But remember, this trend is still intact. Longer term, the trend is still intact, right? But shorter term, we're getting a lot of weakness. So look, week to week, there's a lot more red. Short-term bearish, long-term maybe bullish. So there's still a lot of weakness here that's happening. So as we kind of get into kind of the daily price action, here's a little bit of the stuff that we were looking at. So here was our bounce right around that 200, and it broke a little under that, I think. We gapped up as well, and then we kind of sold off and drifted again. And then we had this sideways consolidation for almost a whole month or, a couple weeks here. And then again, now we're popping back down. So the question is are we going to hold this level? So take a look. Are we going to keep hitting that 200 and kind of building a bigger base? And that's usually a good sign. See, normally we were doing this on the downward trend. Now we're kind of doing this sideways action. So by doing this sideways action, this is actually good and healthy because you're starting to digest the price movements. And because of that, you might actually start seeing this turn around. So if you look at this white line, it was going down, but now you're actually starting to see it kind of starting to turn, right? So we were going, here's that white line. We're going kind of down, and now we're starting to stabilize, right? So we're starting to get here. Now, I don't know if we're going to start rolling again over, but you are starting to see some basic stability here. So if that'll continue and it can roll back up, that's where you can get some positive movement in the stock. So for the time being, again, longer term, you still got this trend kind of intact. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's kind of there. You can see these points kind of hitting there. And it's kind of there, right, in that range. So it hasn't fully broken it there. It's, so there is some weakness here on this pullback that you also have recently, but it's still kind of intact. Technical analysis isn't going to be perfect. The volume also on the selling pressure is weak. So this is usually a good sign. So this pullback is a lot weaker, but you can see this volume was drying up for quite a while. So anyway, so we're going to see if we can get a bounce here. And we did have this double top here at around 500. So if this stock does hold up and we look at kind of the weekly, it's quite possible we can come back and retest the 500, but we still need some rotation of some sort. We need a nice base, and we're starting to kind of maybe build some kind of base. Doesn't mean it is the base, but we're starting to build some base. So from a shorter term perspective, maybe multi-week hold, we're still acting a bit weak. If you're trading this day to day, I mean, it's a little bit tough. You'd probably get it here and try and get out of it, on big bounces and that kind of thing. But if you're looking for a multi-day hold, you are still kind of in a weaker downward trend. It's a little bit of sickness to it. And if we can start building a little bit of a base here, then you might see a little bit more of a turnaround to getting back into price levels around this price level of 275 or even into the 500 levels. So, you got other levels there around 400, but that's kind of what I'd be watching for. And this is a good little sign. These are usually little clues that, hey, there's some action starting to come in. It doesn't mean it will, but it's just saying, hey, we're starting to see some buying activity take place, and you'd like to see that. And it may take a couple more months for this to all pan out, or even a couple weeks, but it could happen anytime, obviously, just like it happened right here. Boom, somebody comes in, they'll start buying in some of this stock, whatever it is, and then you can start seeing it fuel. But so far the 200 has been holding steady, and that's been pretty good. The other price level, I kind of watch these levels at the swings in 2019, which is right under the 200, but I would classify that as all part of the 200, because this is that range that's really support. If we break under this, the stock could easily go down to $75 a share or so, into the swing points over here, and these swing points into around 100. So be careful if we start breaking lower. Those are some of the levels to watch. But other than that, it's been doing and holding up okay at the 200, and we'll see if we can get some more fuel here to buyers to step in. But that takes time, energy, buying power, and then you'll see how things take off. And also a nice strong market would help. As far as right now, we're just still kind of choppy here at the top. So stronger market would be beneficial. Anyways, thanks for joining me in this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to check out my other channel, Traders Fly, so that way you can get some more insight as far as trading options go, and some more insight. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.